This Choircast podcast is brought to you by Theological Musings, Collected Essays of a Tattooed Theologian, Volume 2 by Dylan Neighbor Cruz. This collection explores contemporary social and political topics through a progressive, theological, and permaculture-infused lens. It also explores topics of theology and biblical studies so that lay people understand what theologians and biblical scholars do in the academic realm. From Choir Publishing, November 5th.
Hey Heathens, Happy New Year. Before we get into the case today, we have an announcement for you. Laci and I are so grateful for 2025 already because this is a year of growth for Deadly Faith.
We deem this year as the year of peaceful growth, though. We'll be investing more time into investigating our cases, connecting with you over socials, and creating more merch.
With that said, our schedule will look a little bit different. Episodes will drop every 2 weeks instead of weekly. This may seem counterintuitive to the grind of growth, but trust us, it'll be worth it.
Our hope is that we can change back to weekly cases in the future as we create steady growth for the podcast. Thank you, though, for understanding and for being part of our crew. Now, back to the show.
Hey, Heathens, you're listening to the Deadly Faith Podcast, where religion and crime collide. I'm Lola.
And I'm Laci.
And this shit is choppy.
The mind that was in Jesus, that mind is in me.
Without me, life has no meaning.
Why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what I've said to my wife or my husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know.
This is the only place where you can see truth.
What? Oh,
choppy.
That makes sense. I'm like, what?
Like chop chop.
Yep.
With
chop,
the
chop.
axe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right.
Before we do trigger warnings, we have a message for our listeners.
Hey, listeners, it is time to elevate your coffee experience with Javy Coffee Concentrate. If you're a regular listener, then you know that I, myself, am a huge fan. I use it almost every morning. So beyond the occasional treat at my local coffee shop, this is my go-to. I make it every morning, and it makes my mornings a breeze. No more fussing with coffee pots or waiting for a brew. Just a few quick pours, some syrup, and my favorite milk, and I have a delicious pick-me-up in no time. Javy mixes effortlessly with hot or cold water, milk, or any milk alternative that you love. It's perfect for lattes, iced coffees, or even just for baking. Yes, you heard that right. Freaking bacon, guys. Not bacon, baking. They have delicious flavors from original decaf cookies and cream, sugar cookie, iced vanilla cream. Love the iced vanilla cream. They also have salted caramel and so much more. And they come out with new flavors all the time. Javy is made from high quality, ethically sourced coffee beans, giving it an incredible taste every single time. So say goodbye to long waits and hello to instant satisfaction. Whether you're at home, in the office, or on the go, Javy is the ideal solution for busy coffee lovers. I'm a substitute, and I walked into a teacher's room, and they had Javy sitting on top of their coffee pot area for people. I was like, this is awesome. But please remember that it's coffee concentrate, so a little bit goes a long way. And don't make the mistake that one of my coworkers did and poured her whole self a cup of Javy. She was going for hours, all right? Lots of caffeine. Just a couple teaspoons is all you need. So don't wait. Click the link in the show notes and use code LACI33468 at checkout to enjoy 20% off your first purchase. Again, click the link in the show notes and use code LACI33468 at checkout to enjoy 20% off your purchase. Now back to the episode.
So we have trigger warnings. We only have one, though. It's murder.
Oh, there you go. The big one.
The big one. She said, oh.
Murder.
Yeah, so as you can tell by the title, most of you have heard of her famously haunted house, and you probably know her name when you think of true crime or unsolved cases.
What?
This is still unsolved. She is best known for being suspected of murdering her father and stepmother in 1892. Her trial was a national sensation in the United States. We're talking about Lizzy Borden.
Lizzy Borden.
Lizzy Borden, which, by the way, Laci and I can't stop thinking about taking a trip together to Lizzy Borden's house.
I want to so bad. I don't want to stay the night. I want to stay the fucking night.
Yes, to stay the night, to record there and do a vlog of our stay.
Here's the thing, is I have never had...
I would do a vlog.
Fuck yeah. I've never had literally anything like supernatural happened to me, if I have said that I've had something supernatural happen to me, it was usually something spiritual, and I was lying so that I could fit in to my religious group.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the extent of it.
You haven't experienced a haunting.
I haven't experienced a haunting. I haven't experienced a ghost. I haven't experienced like anything kind of like supernatural happening in my house or around me. I've heard stories of other people. I swore I heard a voice and nobody was there outside my house last year.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've ever come. So it's like, you know what? If I don't experience anything in the Lizzy Borden house, then
you don't believe in anything.
like if I actually, well, I was going to say that, but then I'm like, no, I really don't. That's not true. But I was like, if something is going to happen to me, it's got to happen at the Lizzy Borden house, because like, where else would it happen?
Either that or that hotel where The Shining was.
Oh yeah. What the fuck is that hotel called?
I forgot what it's called.
Blank. I did too. Everyone's screaming at us in our
Whatever,
ears.
it's fine. I'm not going to look it up. I don't care enough. So yeah, maybe one day we'll do that. If we do, you guys will be in the loop. So
fund our trip to go to Lizzy Borden's house. Sign up for our Patreon so we can have money to go.
Also, tell your friends to follow us and subscribe.
Yes.
Even if they don't listen, just click the button and walk away. It's okay. But also listen, because we really do like getting new people in the community.
We do we do need those listens, because add money, bitches. Yeah.
I love how you leaned away from add money, bitches. All right, so let's talk about Lizzy's background. Her parents were Andrew Jackson Borden and Sarah Anthony Borden, and they were said to have had a beautiful marriage. Her dad made a good life for them selling furniture and coffins, and then eventually getting into the real estate business.
Oh, okay.
So he was very wealthy.
Very savvy, too, with, business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So their first daughter was Emma, who was born February of 1851. And another baby girl named Alice was born in 1856, but she sadly passed away before she turned 2. Sarah was in poor health after Alice died, and Lizzy was born in Fall River, Massachusetts on July 19th of 1860.
Okay.
So a little bit afterward.
Gotcha.
Andrew did not want more kids after Lizzy because he was very concerned about his wife's deteriorating health.
Yeah.
So they stopped after Lizzy. But
it makes sense.
Unfortunately, March 26th of 1863, Sarah passed away at age 39 due to uterine congestion and spinal disease.
Uterine congestion.
I don't know what that means.
I've never heard of that before. It's probably something we call different. They just didn't know what the fuck it was back then. So they were like, uterus congestion.
Well, Emma ended up stepping up and took the mother role over Lizzy, and they were pretty close. Lizzy had a normal upbringing. She was said to be ordinary, educated, and kind overall, but she was also a bit of a thief.
Okay.
She only got away with it because her father went around to store owners and told them, if you see her steal something, just charge it to my account. Because remember, he's a wealthy dude. He's got accounts open at all the stores and stuff. So,
oh my gosh. So she's like, she's not learning.
A little bit entitled. Okay.
There you go. It's I was like, she's not learning shit.
And this comes up later on too. You can definitely tell that she's.
Yeah.
She thinks she's owed something. So
okay, so I Googled because I had to know what uterine congestion is.
I knew you'd fucking Google it.
I had to Google it. So it is a condition where the veins in your pelvic area become swollen and twisted, causing very chronic pain. And I was like looking at pictures, like animated pictures, of course, but it doesn't. Your uterus is like flumped over.
That makes sense why she was having issues like with pregnancy and stuff.
Yeah. And
so,
I wonder if it was brought on by pregnancy. I'm not going to go any further in the stuff.
Honestly, 3 kids for that day and time was a little bit low.
Mm-hmm. And veins, your veins are what carries the blood to your heart. And so I can see like there's less pressure in your veins than there are your arteries. But I can see how it could. I
wonder if it led to heart failure.
I could think it would, because you're not getting enough adequate blood flow back to your heart to get it.
We're not doctors.
Sent to your lungs to get oxygenated. So I don't know, but
We're not
it sounds
doctors.
fucking painful.
It does.
And the pictures look painful. Anyways.
So yeah, she's a thief. When Lizzy was a teenager, she was heavily involved in church. Both of the sisters were brought up in a religious environment.
Yeah.
They attended Central Congregational Church.
Okay.
A couple of things that she participated in throughout her early life into adulthood. She taught Sunday school to children of immigrants.
Oh.
She was the secretary-treasurer of the Christian Endeavor Society.
Okay.
She was a member of the Women's Christian Temperance Union. Don't know what that means.
No idea.
And lastly, she was a member of the Ladies' Fruit and Flower Mission. That sounds really cute.
I was about to say, why do I love that so much? Because I have no idea what they do, but it is wholesome as fuck.
So you can see she's happily involved in a lot of things with church.
Yes.
So June 2nd of 1865, Andrew remarries to Abby Durfee Gray.
Okay.
So Sarah had passed away 3 years earlier. They did not have children together in this marriage, Abby and Andrew.
Okay.
In 1872, the family moved to 92 2nd Street, which today is 230 2nd Street. So this is the house.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Andrew was really budget conscious. Their house was always super simplistic. They didn't have running water or even indoor plumbing, even though they could afford it. He had money running out of every orifice, pretty much.
I just don't understand. Like, I can understand, okay, keeping the house that you're in, not buying a bigger one, things like that, but like not even updating to get indoor plumbing?
I mean, once you go without something so long,
Yeah.
and if you grow up without it, you may not see the need, even if you do have money.
And it's so foreign to us because we have never gone without indoor plumbing. The only time I went without indoor plumbing was when I was in the jungle of Panama.
Yeah,
And boy, I tell you, shitting over the ocean was pretty awkward.
Sounds like it.
It was a little, it was a porta potty above the ocean. It had a dock.
Oh my God.
And then you just went into this hut that was literally over the dock, like over the ocean at the end of the dock, and a hole cut out. So like you shit, everybody sees you shitting because your shit just falls into the ocean. Kaplump.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so we just started making a big joke about it. So every time anybody actually pooped, because we had been traveling, so like there was like constipation issues. So anytime anybody pooped because it was a mission trip, we'd be like, victory in Jesus.
Victory screech.
Anyways, moving on back to Lizzy Borden.
Yes. So they lived frugally. The girls were raised frugally. But they did not like this, okay? The girls did not like this.
Valid. I mean,
they knew about the financial situation.
Yeah.
All of them knew that they had money, but he was just not really willing to spend it.
I wonder if that's why she was stealing, because she just wanted it, and he was so frugal.
So yeah, that's why I'm saying she's entitled in that way, because she believes, because I have money, I should be able to get this. But I'm not able to because Dad
is a meanie head.
So May of 1892, Lizzy got mad at her father. He was planning to transfer a lot of his assets to members of Abby's family for free.
Oh, no. How dare you take away my inheritance, father?
Yeah, so she's like, me and my sister, we should be getting assets. We should be getting the money. We should be getting more from you. So tensions are on the rise. And also the girls hated Abby.
Oh, I don't think she did nothing wrong.
I don't know specifically why they hated her. They just didn't get along. Lizzy would openly talk about hating her in town to others and to family.
Oh my
God. Like, I don't like that bitch.
Wow.
Lizzy began withdrawing from Abby and Andrew after she found out about like the transferring of assets and stuff. She was angry at the world at that point. And then, so Lizzy pretty much found out that the house that they had grown up in, that their mother had lived in with them, it was going to be given to Emma, the oldest daughter, upon Andrew's passing. And so she was mad that she was not part of that deal or that it would go to her. And so she's now bitter towards Emma.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why both of them are now kind of like, she's withdrawing from them.
Okay.
Not as close.
Okay.
She wouldn't even go out in public with them. She stopped coming down to family dinner. She was just not.
And this is Lizzy, right?
Yeah, this is Lizzy.
Okay. Wow, she's... How old is
Her
she at this
behavior
point?
is changing. She is, 1892. She was
I thought you meant she was
born.
92 years old. And I was like, no, the fuck she was.
God, let me go back. When was she born? There's so many dates. I'm sorry.
I know. I do the same thing. You're fine.
60. She was born in 60. It's 92.
She's 32 years old.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she's not married.
Grow up.
Weird. So, August 4th of 1892, Emma was out of town. But the rest of the family, including their Uncle John, was homesick. Oh my God, this is so gross. So, they had been eating food that made them sick. They made some soup, and the soup had gone bad, and so they all had food poisoning.
Oh, it's so gross.
And Bridget, which is their maid, was making their breakfast that day, which was more soup and pancakes.
Of the same soup that made them sick? What the hell, guys? Like,
people are dumb. It's the 1800s. People are dumb as fuck.
oh my God. And also, I'm going to bring this up again. They don't got no indoor plumbing. If they got food poisoning,
yeah.
I would just live outside. You're probably shitting and throwing up everywhere.
Also, they don't wash their hands because people don't know that washing hands, we don't get to that point for another 50 years.
Oh my God, you're right.
Gross. So this is all happening the morning of August 4th. Bridget's making that soup for them, and she's making pancakes. And Uncle John, he leaves after breakfast to buy some cattle. And then Dad, Andrew, left shortly after breakfast for a morning walk and then to run some business errands.
Okay.
Despite being sick.
Gotta
do what you gotta do.
Yeah. He's a businessman.
He is. He's busy. Abby began clearing the guest room, and Lizzy was said to be ironing clothing in the dining room. Okay, so as we've established, Lizzy is 32 at this time and still living at home. And that was weird to me when I realized her age at this point.
Yeah.
So I looked a little bit deeper, and it's not confirmed, but it is believed that Andrew did not let her marry because all potential suitors he believed were fortune seekers and that they didn't really want to be with her, which is kind of sad.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
if that's true, that is but I could also see that being true because of how frugal he was.
I don't know why he's so protective of his money. Either he didn't have money as a child, like they were super poor, and now he's hoarding wealth for safety, or I don't know.
We haven't even hit the Great Depression yet. So you don't even have that as an excuse.
So that's just a side note. Let's go back to the story. So when Andrew comes home from running errands, he takes a nap. And when he's asleep, Lizzy goes to her neighbor, whose name is Adelaide, and says, "My father's been murdered." Sorry. So they run back to the Borden's home and find that Andrew has been bludgeoned to death. He was hit in the face over and over between 10 to 11 blows.
Jesus Christ. Okay, and did they say that she was just calm? They just walked over and was like, "My dad's been murdered"?
No, I mean, she was she had run over to the neighbor.
Okay.
But
okay.
She submitted to in a bit of a tizzy kind of thing. So,
all right. At least there's that.
Lizzy in a tizzy. So
Lizzy's in a tizzy.
blood is all over the couch that he's on.
Oh, God.
But Adelaide reported that there was no blood on Lizzy when she saw her. The maid, Bridget, comes downstairs and is horrified. It's a big house.
Yeah.
Okay. So she wasn't quite in the loop yet. I don't know why you ran to your neighbor and not your maid, though.
Yeah, that strikes me as very odd. Yeah.
So May comes down. Everybody's just horrified. And they're like, oh, we need to search for Abby and make sure she's okay. Nope, not safe. She is also dead. Abby looked even worse. She was hit from behind and her head had been chopped into at least 19 times. Can you say overkill?
What? Also, I want you to imagine not throwing. You're not throwing. You're swinging a heavy axe and you're hitting bone. So it's like, I don't know what it would be compared to like wood, but like it's still exerting a lot of your force and requiring a lot of your energy.
19 times.
19 times. This
is not
exhausting.
A woman that works out too. This is a person of wealth that doesn't have to work.
So to me, it's very much like passion killing because it's such overkill is what it screams to me.
I agree. One thing to note is that blood is found in the places where Andrew and Abby are killed. So like I said, the couch, and then Abby was found on the floor in that guest bedroom.
Yes.
But nowhere else in the home. So there's no tracked blood anywhere. There's no spotting anywhere else. Police show up and they are shocked, believing that there is a crazy stranger that broke in and killed the couple.
I'd have thought the same thing.
I think that would make sense in that day and age.
Right.
In that town at the time.
Yeah.
So all parties are interrogated, but still they're feeling like it's an outside person. They're not convinced that it's anyone in the house. So police ask around the community, have you seen a stranger? Anyone passing through that gave you the heebie-jeebies? Anything at all? Some said no, but others said they saw some guy knocking at the door furiously.
What?
The police are thinking this doesn't make sense. It would be more likely someone inside had done it because there was no, I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah. It's just weird that there's no blood found anywhere else.
That's what they were thinking. They're like, there's no way that someone broke in and didn't like track stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're in the house, it would be easier to like control the crime scene.
Yeah.
Control
I can see that.
The scenario. So it's not making sense to them. And everyone in town that they're talking to, they're like, you know that Lizzy hates Abby, right?
It's very well known.
She's been all around town talking about it.
She talks about it all the time to everybody.
To anyone that will listen, apparently. So they ask Lizzy, and she's like, I didn't hear a thing. I just walked in the room and saw it. Oh.
And she was home the entire time.
Yes, she's home. Bridget's home. Yeah, and then Abby and Andrew. So the only two suspects.
How do
Lizzy and Bridget.
neither of them hear an axe?
That's what I'm saying.
19 times.
Or at least like the thudding of Abby hitting the floor at the very least.
There's no electricity, so you can't say you had your box fan on because you were taking a nap. That'd be my excuse.
So it's just a mystery. The whole country is now interested. The case went viral in the papers. And during the investigation, there were so many people going in and out of the house. We talked about this in multiple cases that are older. You've got so much cross-contamination happening because police are allowed, detectives, doctors, media.
Yeah.
If you have anything to do with working the case, you're allowed on the crime scene.
Right.
So
that's how, and that's what we just talked about in the last case before the end of the year. The reporters were coming into the house when they were doing the search warrants. Even the freaking public was like coming into the church to see the crime scene and to see the bloody closet where Minnie was found, and walking up to the belfry to see Blanche Lamont, where Blanche Lamont had been found. And that's just that day and age, man. They didn't have reality TV to entertain them. This was their reality
Real
TV.
life was their drama.
Yes.
So police have gathered helpful information. They know Abby was killed before Andrew. Andrew had just been killed when he was found. He was still warm and bleeding out. They also found a bit of blood on Lizzy's clothing. So they took all of her clothes from her that she was wearing that day, but it's on her undergarments. not on the outside. So she says that it's the beginnings of her period, so spotting.
I want to see pictures. I know we don't have them. Okay. I get that. But
I got nothing.
because like that's valid.
Mm-hmm. And no one, okay, think about how taboo it is to this day to talk about your period. You know, it's a little more okay, but it's still kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, we're still learning that that's an okay thing to talk about in public circles. So if she tells police officers, oh, it's my menstrual blood, they're,
Yeah, they're like,
don't say anything else. You unholy fiend. Yeah.
And it's hard because this could go one of two directions, okay? Because part of me's like, okay, but like, would you really think that that's period blood if it was on the outsides of her garment, like undergarments? And like undergarments aren't what they are today. You know, they were bigger and longer. So if it's on the outside, like, is it right up against her vagina? Or is this like further down? And I would think like, well, if it was further down, then you would know like that's not from her period. But also people who don't have periods can be dumb about periods because they don't know shit about
Not a lot of information for them to work with back then.
So yeah, that's hard because I need more information.
We don't have
it.
So police find the head of a hatchet upstairs. So they're combing through the house looking for more information, more evidence. And upstairs, covered in a film of ash, they find the infamously named handleless hatchet.
Okay. It's just the metal part.
Yes. They believe it was broken purposefully, not circumstantially. After the funeral for her parents, Lizzy burned a dress. Lizzy said she did this because she got paint on it. Now, I know that they have money, but remember they're frugal and clothing is really, really expensive.
Yeah. And if you got paint on it, couldn't it be repaired rather than just like burned?
Exactly. That's what everyone else is saying.
Is it normal to burn clothes?
Burning garments is not a common thing to do in this time.
Normal.
Because I knew that question would come up. It's not how people would dispose of their garments. If anything, they would be reusing a lot of the garments that they have.
Yeah,
either
they were
as
the beginnings.
fashion to make undergarments or rags for household things.
Yeah.
So
this generation was the original reduce, reuse, recycle.
For sure.
Yeah.
Environmentally conscious without thinking about it.
Yeah, without even knowing that's what they were doing.
So because she burned it, and because now they see there's that hatchet has this film of ash on it, they're thinking Lizzy looks suspicious now. This looks even worse for her than before. They also find out through some doctors that Lizzy was looking to get a hold of some prussic acid.
Okay.
From doctor's offices. She was looking for a prescription for prussic acid. I looked this up.
What is that?
She told them that she wanted to use it to clean some of her coats made from seal fur. So prussic acid, also known as hydrogen cyanide or hydrocyanic acid, is a highly toxic, flammable, and volatile liquid that is used in many chemical processes. But it's flammable and dangerous. And yeah.
Is it poisonous or is it just highly flammable?
Both.
Both? Okay. Is it commonly used
all of the above?
Is it commonly used as an ingestible for poison?
You got me. I don't know.
So, because they all did have food poisoning.
Okay. So you're drawing the same conclusion that others are. They're thinking, did you possibly try to... Whatever. I'm going to get to it later.
Okay, sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
So she was not able to get a hold of this, though.
Okay.
From what records say. And what doctors say. She wanted to. She sought it out.
But she couldn't get it.
She sought it out. Yeah. So August 8th, they have an inquest hearing while Lizzy is on morphine. She was given it before all of her court appointments because she was acting a little bit deranged. She was contradicting her stories and not answering questions at all. So they thought giving her morphine would loosen her up a little bit.
Yeah, that's playing with fire.
August
Guys.
11th, she is arrested for the murders of Andrew and Abby. And June 5th of 1883, the trial begins in New Bedford, Massachusetts. This trial was the place to be. I think this was one of the very first trials that was so publicized.
Right.
And dramatized and romanticized, all the eyes, you know?
Yeah, I would have been there. I'm not lying.
I would have too. I mean,
I would have been there.
I would have been so starved for entertainment.
Yeah, I would have been too.
A vicious murder headed up by a small lady, a delicate lady, and she was
who
delicate.
went to church and
who went to church.
Didn't you say she led Sunday school or something like that?
She did everything. She did everything in church.
All of the things. Oh yeah, because yeah.
Treasury, whatever, flowers, fruit, children, whatever, immigrants. She's on it. So
yeah, she loves Jesus, but she murders. What?
People were so interested in this case, they were lined up outside the courthouse, squeezing in so that they could see her in all her glory because she did it up. She was wearing these fancy black dresses and she had a matching black fan in her hand so that she could cover her face if she didn't want someone to see her reaction to something. I mean, she played it up. She leaned heavy into this like mysterious, delicate lady, you know, being accused of something so heinous, so unbecoming, you know.
Yeah.
So prosecutors insist it was Lizzy. She's the main one with the motive and was there. You know, Bridget,
Makes
the maid,
sense.
she didn't have any issues with the family. Yeah. She'd been with them a while. So the first to report the murders to anyone was Lizzy too, which also makes her another target for it.
At the scene of the crime.
The first to speak it, did it.
Whoever.
If you smelt it, you dealt it. Yeah.
If you saw it, you wagged it.
So the prosecutors end up bringing in Andrew and Abby's skulls into the courtroom. And when they do, Lizzy sees them and she faints. So dramatic.
Oh, of course she does. Yeah, I was about to say, of course she does.
So the jury got a chance to see the handleless hatchet in its, in action pretty much, and how it fit into the skull marks perfectly. So they were like, this is definitely what was used. And it's very obvious that it was, the handle was broken off because this is the guilty piece of evidence here. And there was something, there was blood, there was something that was going to point to who did it based on what was on the handle. So, and then they pointed out the burned dress situation. Who burns a fucking dress? Especially a frugal family like this. You brought out frugally. If you get paint on a little bit of a dress, that's just not a natural reaction.
Right.
Her defense said, though, there's no physical evidence. You can't tie her to anything besides the fact that she happened to be there and you have another person that was there.
Which is weird. I will give them that. It is weird.
I agree that I wish I knew what it sounded like in the house, just like when you're doing basic day-to-day things.
Yeah.
Would you have heard something like this? I mean, so Andrew was asleep, so he's probably not going to make a lot of noise if you get a good first hack in, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like, Abby, you would have heard something.
I feel like you would have heard the wax against the person.
That's what for how many times they were hit, I feel like you'd hear a little bit, but
maybe I'm wrong because you are going into flesh, not like a hard piece of wood.
I wonder how thought out this was. I don't know. So Emma testified and defended her sister, saying that she was actually the one who wanted to burn the dress and that Lizzy didn't do this at all. She said, I was the one that wanted the dress gone. I thought it was the best course of action to burn it. My bad. And Lizzy did not speak through the trial at all. She let her lawyers lead everything, which is smart.
That is smart. I'll give her that one.
She also
But also, I'm like, okay, if the sister is like, I'm the one that wanted to burn the dress, why, if this is something they've never done before, is she trying to cover for her sister? Because she can see that things are looking weird. And like, like there was already suspicion against her sister. And so then she's like, let's burn the dress. Like, this looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same thing. Lizzy refused all interview opportunities. She did not want to tell her side at all.
You know, that's a smart move. I will say, though. Like, if you're
you can
going
get your
into
words
court,
twisted super easy.
And I'm sure it was as true back then as it is now, that the media will twist your words to make it into whatever is more sensational, whatever will sell more stories. So honestly, shutting the fuck up is your best course of action, whether you're guilty or not. So, especially if you're not guilty, because you're just going to fuck yourself over.
And it's the 1800s. It's a big game of telephone. So you tell one reporter this, the next one hears this, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So even after the trial, Lizzy never shared her version of what happened. We still don't know the full story from her side. The jury decided within 2 hours, and she was found not guilty.
Oh, wow. Just
Lizzy...
The evidence was just too circumstantial to...
Yeah. It left enough doubt that they couldn't completely convict her of this. So Lizzy fell forward in relief, and the courtroom and like outside turned into just chaos of joy. Everyone was so happy that she had made it through and she wasn't guilty. They were excited she was not to blame because they loved her. She'd become a celebrity to them.
Wow.
They loved her outfits, her expressions, the way she did her hair. Everything about her was just a mystery and alluring.
She was too high class to have been a murderer.
Yeah. I think I kind of skipped over this part because we touched on it for a second. With the soup, them being sick, a lot of people had theorized that she was using something different than that prussic acid to get them sick. That it was something just not as effective. I don't know what that would be. It could be anything. Whatever. But they were thinking she was trying to maybe poison them and it didn't work quick enough, or it didn't work the way she wanted.
Right. Now, okay, here's my question. What's your opinion on the case in the end? Like, do you think she did it?
Let me tell you the rest of it.
Oh, I thought you were done. Oh my gosh,
No.
Keep going. Keep going.
No, I just wanted to touch back on that because I didn't know like the best place to put it in because they didn't bring it up in court.
Oh, well, okay.
It was just something that was theorized by people around that knew that they were sick.
And I can see why they wouldn't bring that up because like she never got a hold of anything. So like if they brought it up, it would be even
they just thought
more
it was suspicious that she was trying to get a hold of stuff from a doctor. So
agreed. Yeah.
So after the trial and everything, Emma and Lizzy inherited $10 million in today's money.
10 million?
Yeah.
I just want to pay my house off. That's all.
Set for life. So they decided to stay in town, surprisingly, and they bought a huge house they named Maplecroft and lived lavishly. So they got to live that life that they always dreamed. She changed her name to Lizbeth to rebrand herself, but her reputation was still tarnished in town because many believed that she was a liar and guilty, and she was eventually shunned by everyone in her church because of everything that happened. So
they love that she got off,
but they hate her afterward. It's super weird dichotomy there.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Emma and Lizzy they grew apart with time. So, they lived together afterward, but with time they grew apart and eventually became estranged as they were older.
And we don't know why.
Nope. Because they didn't talk about it.
Lizzy, need to know why.
So Lizzy, like I said, never married. She loved animals though. And she had many dogs. Many.
Same girl.
Lizzy died. Lizzy died there in the Maplecroft house on June 1st of 1927 from pneumonia, and Emma died 9 days later. Lizzy left the rest of her money to the Fall River Animal Rescue League, and she also left money for her father's grave to be tended to and well-groomed through the years. There are so many versions of this case. Many accusations, including some about the girl's childhood and possibly being sexually or physically abused, but nothing has been confirmed.
Yeah.
With little evidence still around, the case remains unsolved, but police are still trying to figure it out.
Still?
It's still, yeah, still open.
Oh,
So,
my gosh.
I believe it was a heist.
By her?
Everybody.
You think everyone was involved in it? Like the sisters and the...
I don't think the maid was.
Okay.
I don't think the maid was.
So who all do you think was involved in it?
I think John and Emma and Lizzy.
John.
Uncle John.
Uncle John. Because Uncle John
Either
was there.
Uncle John or they hired another person, like another man. So that man knocking at the door.
Right.
Kind of thing. So I think that Emma and Lizzy conspired, created the plan. And then Lizzy and whoever the other dude was helped carry it out.
Was Emma just as, like, hateful towards...
Emma didn't like Abby, but she wasn't spewing shit around town like Lizzy was.
She wasn't as outspoken as Liz.
Because Emma, remember, she became a mother figure almost immediately.
Yeah.
To a toddler. So, like, she raised Lizzy. So yes, they're sisters, but it's more of a mother-daughter dynamic there.
Yeah.
So, I think at the very least, if there's not a third person involved, it was Emma and Lizzy together. And I think they became estranged because when you live with that, like, guilt.
Yeah.
And that burden between you two.
Yeah.
It's gotta be super heavy on the relationship. You can't just move past it like that because they did love their father.
Yeah.
That had to be a difficult thing for them to... I mean, even when she died, she left money so that years and years after his grave could still be tended to.
And that's weird to me if they did it. I don't see somebody... to me, it had to be an inside job. Like, some random ass guy is not going to go in there and just kill 2 out of the 4 that are in the house and run the fuck off and not cause this, like, massive scene of blood trailing or anything. Like, I think it had to have been planned.
I don't know a whole lot about Abby and Andrew's marriage, but I wondered if, with the girls resenting their stepmother so much, that it caused a rift in the marriage. And I wondered, did something maybe happen where Abby killed Andrew and then Lizzy flies off the handle at Abby? This gives her just enough of a push to go for a hatchet and go just wild on her.
Yeah. But they said that Abby had been killed first and she was already cold and Andrew was still bleeding.
Man, why would you go for your dad after?
My thought would be the opposite. Well, no, hold on.
This is difficult.
Yeah, I don't know. My opinion is that
I need more from the maid. Anyway.
I definitely need more from the maid because I'm like, what the fuck? You were in the house?
What
I'm
were
very
you doing?
confused. So I think it had to have been planned. This was not just like a random one-off stranger. I think Lizzy definitely knows more. I've never heard the theory that you just put forward, and I can see that.
The 3 people?
The 3 people, yeah. I can see that.
It makes too much sense that Emma was out of town for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know who they thought was going to get blamed for this. Did they think no one will ever point to us because we're women? Will they point to that third person that we either hire or that we set up?
My opinion is that Lizzy did it by herself.
How?
And the reason, I don't know how, but the reason is that too many times in history when there is more than one person involved in a crime,
they give each other up.
They give each other up and they crack.
Even family.
Yeah, even family. So I can see one person being able to take this to their grave, especially somebody like Lizzy. So I think that, yes, she did it. But I also think that the court got the verdict right because the evidence that was brought forward was so highly circumstantial. There was a whole nother ass person in that house during the murders that there is room for reasonable doubt. So in my opinion, they got the verdict right because we have to go by what the law says.
In a court of law, it makes sense how everything played out. Do you think Lizzy was heartless? Do you think she's a heartless bitch or something because of the way that she acted in court and really showed out? And
I think she's a bit narcissistic. Not saying she is a narcissist, but I think she's a bit narcissistic. She thinks very highly of herself. She feels very entitled, and she's 32, still living at home, which is normal for that time if you're not married. But I think she was kind of made in to be that person because of her situation and how her dad treated her. And if it was true that he didn't let her get married because they were just gold diggers, fortune seekers, then I'd be pretty fucking resentful.
That would be understandable on Lizzy's behalf.
Yeah.
Why did it bother him so much? Because everything at that time was about money. Everything from the 1700s, 1800s, it's about money and status. Marriage, all it was is a societal contract.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, yes, it's for also having kids and building a partnership, but not so much. Not so much.
I want to know, did he grow up really poor? Because he doesn't have the Great Depression. I know people who grew up in the Great Depression tend to be hoarders, and tend to be very frugal with their money or they stockpile food or whatever it is, but it is a response from the trauma they endured. So it just makes me wonder, did he endure poverty as a child, which created him to be a very frugal person? And you're seeing Lizzy and Emma are seeing people grow up with this kind of money and living in nicer neighborhoods, wearing nicer things.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, what'd you find?
This is from a journal of Lizzy Borden and Victoria Studies.
Oh.
They define Andrew's character in terms of his thrift, declaring he's saving money because his obsession with it and a dread of ever falling into debt. He boasted he never signed a promissory note or borrowed a penny.
Oh, so he paid everything outright.
Okay, so this kind of hit, maybe he was a little more firm and cruel in a way.
So it was not out of a trauma response, but out of a fear of this could happen. And so I'm gonna, never be in debt. I don't want people to take my house or take my job or not have my stuff. So I'm just never going to take out a loan. I'm going to pay for everything outright. And to pay for something outright, you got to have a lot of money every single time. So he's hoarding it to make that next big purchase.
It looks like they have a nastier family history than
what you'd found.
It seemed like there was a bit more of an underlying rift there on when it came to Andrew's side of the family. With the uncles and aunts and stuff, it seemed like there was more going on there. I just read something about affairs happening between
oh god,
sister-in-law and brother-in-law.
Damn. Boom. Okay, they got some
Who knows if
crazy
it's
family
confirmed?
dynamic, right?
I don't have any extra information on that, but
would I be shocked? No.
there's, like I said, there's so many people that have covered this case. There's so much information out there because everyone is still looking for an answer, which is good that there's so much information, but like, it's hard to verify on really old cases. So
yeah,
we'll just have to keep learning about it. And if you know something more that's verified, let us know.
and that's that saying that we always said growing up. Did you ever? Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother. You've never heard that saying?
No, I've heard of it within my like research, but I never heard it
Really?
before.
Yeah, Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. And when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41, which is wrong because
it's her stepmother,
wrong
and
number.
That's the wrong numbers.
Yeah, her and she gave her stepmother more whacks than her father, right?
Yes. It was 10 to 11 for him and 19.
19 for her. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would make sense. But
you know, back in the day, you loved your creepy little sayings. So
sure. Yeah.
Got to find those numbers that rhyme.
Well, that's Lizzy Borden and her religious, delicate, dramatic, funny girl self.
Murderer?
Murderer?
Oh, no.
Question mark?
I was going to say, question mark?
We have so many questions.
We do. All right.
So
well,
let's talk about palate cleansers. Let's go into that.
I have a really funny one from today. So today I substituted at 5th grade. I had a great bunch of students, loved them. And one of the kids, his name was Jack. And I kept confusing his name with Jake because they're spelled the exact same.
Yeah,
so I kept saying Jake. And he's like, I'm not Jake, I'm Jack. And I was like, sorry. I'm going to get your name wrong for the entire day. I'm going to call you both. And he's like, who is Jake? I don't even know a Jake. Do you know a Jake? And I look at him and I'm like, yeah, Jake from State Farm.
Oh, God.
The whole class just started hysterically laughing. And then it turned into all of them singing the song, the little phrase, the little bippity bop of like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And then they started singing all of the like a good neighbor, I'll shave your hair. They just kept adding random stuff to it. And I mean, it was all day. And then when they came back after lunch, they started doing it again and everything else. Like, all right, well, we're in literacy now. You guys need to read this story. So we need to have level 0, means no talking. Everyone sit at your desk, sit at your computers, read this story. And I was like, just stay focused. And Jake's a great kid. Okay. Or Jack is a great kid, but he gets a little distracted. And so I kept having to like redirect him. And I was like, at that point it had become a big joke. And I was like, State Farm, sit down. And I just started calling him State Farm. And then 20 minutes into the class, all the kids are on their computer reading this story. It is dead fucking silent in the room. And then all of a sudden, one of the kids in the very back corner, you just hear their computer go, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na.
Oh, God.
And the whole classroom erupts in laughter.
Loses it, yeah.
And one of the kids had like Googled and found the little bop on YouTube and played it. And I was laughing so hard. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna get onto you because that was like golden. Like,
well timed.
It was just well timed. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But it lasted like 10 seconds. They all got back to work and it was great. I was like,
kids will be kids in the most fun way.
It was pretty freaking hilarious. Yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's yours?
The Good News Network.
Oh, we're back to the Good News Network.
Hope for patients with aggressive breast cancer. Vaccine trials result in 88% survival rate after 3 years.
A vaccine?
Can you believe? Yeah.
What the fuck?
So
that's amazing.
While the early stage trial was designed to evaluate the safety of the vaccine and did not include a control group to determine efficacy, the research team analyzed historical data from patients with triple-negative breast cancer treated with the standard care only. In that group, on average, only about half of the patients remained cancer-free at 3 years after treatment. Triple-negative breast cancer is an aggressive tumor type that grows even in the absence of hormonal fuel that drives the growth of other types of breast cancer. It currently has no targeted therapies and is usually treated with traditional approaches like surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. For the trial, patients with triple-negative breast cancer who still had evidence of a tumor remaining after a first round of chemotherapy were eligible to participate. After surgery, the team analyzed and compared tumor tissue with the healthy tissue of the same patient to find unique genetic mutations in the cancer cells. These may alter the proteins only in the tumor, making it possible to train the immune system to go after the altered proteins and leave healthy tissues alone. That's awesome.
Oh, that is so cool.
These are complex algorithms, but in general, the software takes in a list of mutations and interprets them in the context of their potential to be good neoantigen candidates, said Professor Malachi Griffith, who co-led the software development for it.
That's fucking amazing.
Several studies of the cancer vaccines developed at Washington University School of Medicine are currently ongoing. In some of the trials for breast cancer, patients' personalized vaccines are being investigated in combination with immunotherapies called checkpoint inhibitors that boost the action of T cells.
Yes.
Wow. So it's an ongoing research that it's personalized vaccines.
That's amazing.
Wow. I would have never thought of that.
Your T cells, Lola might know this, but your T cells are very important for your immune system. They are produced, they're a lymphocyte. They're produced in your bone marrow, but then they some of your lymphocytes travel to your thymus, which is like a gland that's like it's like on your trachea, or it is on your trachea. And your thymus produces a hormone called thymosin. And when those lymphocytes get thymosin, they turn into T cells. And there's a bunch of different types of T cells. And your T cells are what help. You have like helper Ts, which is like your big ones that help activate and deactivate your B cells, which are your antibodies, cells, so you help your immune system. And so your thymus actually, whenever you start to get older, your thymus becomes like fibrous and it declines in its like ability to secrete thymosin, which then decreases its ability to activate lymphocytes into T cells. So that's why older people are more susceptible to getting infections and diseases and things like that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so like you said at the end, where it's like boosting our T cell activity and production, it's literally your T cells are what help us fight off infection and be able to learn and recognize. It branches off a lot from there into like a bunch of different other ways that the cells help and the cells become other cells, and it's a whole.
Science is good. Bodies are smart.
But to create a vaccine that's that fucking specific with cancer cells, because cancer cells are tricky little bitches. Okay, cancer cells usually like it has an antigen on it. All of our cells have different antigens on it, but cancer cells can be tricky and they can fucking hide their antigen so that the other cells can't read it. So then they can evade.
They're spies.
Yeah. And we actually have specific cells in our body called NK cells, which are natural killer cells, which actually attack cancer cells in our body.
They look for them. That's our FBI.
That is our FBI. They are called our immunological surveillance is their function. So they police our lymph fluid and our blood and stuff. Well, there's your anatomy and physiology lesson for the day, guys. Hope you enjoyed that.
Damn, son. That was good.
I am pumped. That is the coolest fucking shit I've heard in a long time. And I fucking love science, guys.
Same. Excellent work to the people over at Washington University.
Yes.
Doing this research and this work. Thank you so much for all you do. It's amazing.
Also, I know we're at the end of the episode, but I just wanted to say Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! With the they're not sprinklers, they're sparklers. I'm crazy.
Sprinklers.
Sparkler sprinkler. Tee-hee. Please be safe and be nice to yourself. And if you don't have a New Year's resolution, who gives a fuck?
Right. Who gives a fuck? I have
honestly,
like yearly
things.
goals. I have like not goals, but like not like a specific goal I'm reaching. It's like, oh, I want to be more, empathetic, or I want to be X, Y, and Z, not this.
And the goals don't have to be for the year. The goals can be, you can put the goalposts wherever you want them to be. That's the good news about your life. You're in control and you have the freedom to decide. So we're here with you along for the ride. And we're proud of you. Happy to have you here.
Also, this comes out on the 31st of December. So actually, Happy New Year's tomorrow, bitches. I was off by one day. I'm so sorry.
Don't be listening to us tonight. It's fine.
You will.
It's fine.
Be safe tonight. Don't
Please.
Get drunk and don't drunk and drive. Don't
Please
drink
Uber
and drive.
or have a DD.
Have a DD.
Drink some water the next day. Lots of water.
Yes.
Okay.
Take care of your body. Take care of you. And we'll see you in 2025.
Yes. With that, please stay safe, stay skeptical,
and steer clear of the cultish carousel. Also, heathens, if you're enjoying the show so far, do all of the things like subscribe, go to our Patreon, and listen to the Potty Podcast, because we talk about some random ass shit over there, and we love you. I know we've been saying this for a while, but we are working on some merch. I promise. More merch will be coming out soon. But in the meantime, head over to our merch, always linked in the show notes, and get yourself a t-shirt, a sweater, something. It's always so fun. Deadly Faith Podcast is brought to you by Choircast Network. It is produced by Laci Borden and Lola Robbins and audio engineered by Eric Howell. Bye.